All right, welcome to the job shadowing of me building a story within VYOND. Now, I must say the first thing that I would always do is I would write out my script, because that's what you're going to base building your story off of. So write out your script, what it's going to say, and then start building. So let's assume that I've already written out the script and I've downloaded it and it's in, or I've uploaded it and it's in my folder. So I'm ready to start rocking and rolling. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go over here and I'm going to start create a video. Now I'm going to choose whiteboard animation. That's just the style I want to go with. Now I've already built this story once already in VYOND, and you'll be able to see the entire thing from beginning to end eventually. This is a true story of what happened to me with my neighbor, and we're rivals. We love our sports teams, but we're rivals. So I just thought, I'm going to make this into a story. And so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and wipe everything off the scene because I want to start brand new. There's something about a pencil coming in and starting the story. So first my character was sitting down, so I need to choose my character. And I've already built that character, and so he is somewhere. Here he is right here. Okay, and we have him sitting down, so the action I'm going to choose is sitting down. So I just type in sit, and I'm going to give him the relaxed motion, or the relaxed feel, which is this one right here. There he is, okay. But he's just kind of sitting in midair, so I need to add a prop. I'm going to type in chair. The chair that I'm going to use is this one right here. Okay, as you can see, there's a couple of problems already. So the chair is in front of me, so I'm going to come up here to the align button, and I'm going to move the chair from the order of front to move it backwards. Okay, but the chair is still flipped in the wrong direction. Okay, so I need to change that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm just going to select mirror. See, okay, now it's like he's sitting down in the chair, and that looks a little bit more realistic. Okay, but I think he had a drink in his hand as well. So I'm going to come over here to the prop menu, type in drink, and let's give him this soda here. It's a large soda, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down just a little bit. I'm going to put it right in his hand, so it's in the front of the layering order. Okay, so there are a couple things we need to think about here. And now I want to start this story out with the camera just on him and not this entire white space. As I continue to build this story, I'll expand the camera movement to open up and get a little bit more of this white space, but I want the camera to start with just the square around the character. Click on the scene and then come up here to camera movement. Okay, add camera movement, and this orange box is where we're going to start from. Okay, so I'm going to put it just about right here. So let's preview what we have so far, just to see what it looks like. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so he's not so giant. Okay, so we have three items on the screen here. We have the drink, and we have the character, and we have the chair. And so each of those have got to have an entrance effect. Okay, so, and which one do you want to come in first? Well, the script starts off. Let me go ahead and add the script here from my library. I think I named it BYU, so let me see if I can find it. Sure enough, there it is. So I'm going to click on the voice narration that I've uploaded, and now it's in my folders. But I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and what that's going to do is it's going to move it down to the timeline. Okay, so let's kind of preview what the audio clip says.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude.
I want to start off when he's saying, "Hi, that's me, Brad." I want the pencil to be drawing him as he's introduced to the scene. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the character, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to apply to enter effect. And I'm going to choose whiteboard, which is whiteboard animation. And I'm going to use pen, I think I'll use a real hand. So whiteboard, real hand. Okay, and I could preview that if I wanted to. I don't want to delay. Let's see. Actually, I do want at least 1 second delay. And I want him to take about 2.5 seconds to draw me. Okay? And then I'm going to have him also draw the chair. Now, I don't want the pen drawing the chair and the character at the same time, so I'm going to delay drawing the chair by 2.5 seconds, which is how long it took to draw the character. But if you remember, I also added 1 second for delay. So I'm going to delay the chair 3.5 seconds so that it's not drawing over top of the original character drawing. So highlight the chair, come up here, and I'm going to do whiteboard animation, which is where it's at. I'm going to delay it by 3.5 seconds. Okay. And let's see, I chose 1 second for how long to draw the chair, but I'm going to make it 2 seconds. So between the character and the chair, we're at 5.5 seconds to completely draw the character and the chair. Okay, so what about the third item, which is the soda drink? I'm going to do the same thing here, whiteboard animation as the enter effect, but I'm going to delay it 5.5 seconds, so it's the last thing, and I'm only going to use 1 second for how long it takes to draw that. Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, we can go ahead and preview this, and it will draw the character first, it will draw the chair second, and then the drink last.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude.
Okay, so that's the first part of it. Now the skill I just showed you with the timing of characters and the props is a great skill to learn, but there is a more simpler way to do the same thing, and that is by multiple scenes or by multiple smaller video clips. So instead of having 3 items in one scene with different timings, you can break down each movement or change into multiple scenes or multiple video clips. So for example, when the character enters the scene, that would be one scene. When the chair enters the scene, that'd be another scene. And then so forth with the soda drink and other things. But each character or each prop or each timing of an action is done by one little scene. And then when that action or timing is done, it moves on to the next scene. The scene will only take as long as necessary to perform that action. So for example, standing up would only take 1 or 2 seconds. So that scene would be 1 or 2 seconds. So you would have a lot more smaller scenes in the story timeline versus one long scene with multiple timings of delay and duration. So let me go ahead and show you how. So in this first scene, we have the character that we'd bring in. And again, what we've done for him really quickly is we've put him in the action of sitting, and then we have an enter effect of whiteboard animation. So let's see, we have an enter effect of whiteboard animation, and we chose real hand whiteboard. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and delay that 1 second like we've done before. And I'm going to have it take about 2.5 seconds to draw him. Okay, and so that would take care of that scene. And then I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down until the exclamation point shows up, and then just slightly back just a little bit. And now we can go ahead and preview that.
Hi, that's me, Brad.
Okay, so that's it for that scene. And then what we would do is we would just continue on the last scene. and it would include him in that timing. But in this scene, the prop comes into play, and we chose chair. We'll put that in here. And again, we're gonna, you can come up here and do everything up here in this menu up here. I'm gonna go ahead and move it backwards. But I'm also going to, let's see, you can also right click and just do everything by right clicking that way on some of those actions. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that here. It's a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna shrink it down. Okay, now we need an enter effect. Now the enter effect, you don't need to delay this because it's at the beginning of a new scene. So again, we're switching from timings of duration and delay to scene action. So let's go ahead, and I'm not going to delay it because it's at the beginning of a new scene, and I am going to still allow it to be 2 seconds to take to draw the actual chair. Okay, so that would take care of that scene of the chair, and so I'm going to go ahead and shrink that down to however long that 2 seconds is. Okay, and then, so that takes care of the chair, and then we have the other one for the soda drink. And I'm just going to continue the last scene, come up here to props, put in here drink, apply that and have it come down. And that's one big soda drink, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. And the enter effect for this, again, whiteboard animation with the real hand. But again, there's no delay because again, it's at the beginning of the scene. And I'm going to just say a second to draw the soda. Okay. So as you can see here, we have 3 different scenes for each individual prop or character that came into play. But let's go ahead and preview and make sure it's right.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude.
So again, that's just another way to do it, and it's a little bit more simpler, so you're not dealing with all the math that comes along with how long the delay should be and how long the duration is. But again, both are good skills and both are good ways to do it, and I recommend learning both because there'll be different situations where you want to adjust the timing of the delay on one object. Okay, so I'm missing a few characters here, which is my family, right? So true story, I have 3 girls, and I'm going to go ahead and come over here to the character button, and I'm going to just search for girl. I'm going to narrow it down by clicking on the whiteboard animation, so there's 14 there, and as you can see, I'm going to give them just a few of them in here, and they're all very, very different. So they are kind of big, so I'm going to shrink them down just a little bit and apply different actions to them. Okay, so let's say let's come up here to the action menu and look for play. Okay, so I'm going to preview what this one looks like. She's playing with a car. I'm going to go ahead and apply that to that one. Okay, and then I'm going to click this one, and let's see, I'm going to have her playing with a stuffed bear. Preview it and see what it looks like. Sure, that looks fun. I'll put that in there. Okay, so that's what she's doing, and then this one's going to be, she's just kind of dancing, right? So she's just having a good time. Okay. I don't want her looking at the camera, so I'm going to change her facial expression to, let's see, let's go with the left direction. Yeah. Okay, so now she's facing the left direction, and I'm just going to space these guys out just a little bit, put her in the back. She's playing with this. I'm not going to have her playing with the teddy bear. I'm going to have her be playing with a doll. I think that's more realistic. Okay. Now, there might be some subtle changes that I make in the final video, but this is kind of what it's going to be. Now, again, every time we enter in a character or a prop, we got to figure out the timing of that. So I'm going to have this one enter in with the whiteboard animation. And we're at 5.5 seconds, so the delay on this one's going to be 5.5. And I'm going to, maybe a second to have the drawing effect take into account how long it will take. Okay, so now we're at the 6.5. So I'm going to make the delay for this whiteboard animation, the enter effect. I'm going to make this one 6.5 because again, I don't want them drawing over each other. Now I've got a little yellow explanation point right here, so that means something's going on. So basically, if you come down here to the timeline, you can see the explanation point there. And this is basically saying this clip right here is set at, looks like 7 seconds. Okay, but all the animation and all the drawing that I have in here is now at like 7 seconds. So I actually need to extend this clip out just a little bit so that explanation goes away. And as you can see, it went away. But now I'm at 7.5 seconds. And my last enter effect for the last character is also going to be a whiteboard animation. And I'm going to make that 7.5 seconds delayed. And for how long is going to be 1 second. Okay, so let me just test it and see what everything looks like.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude. It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Okay, as you can see, we had a hand come in and draw the drink and the first child at the same time. And so we don't want that, so we've got to fix that. Okay? And I've also noticed that my voice narration came in a little too soon because it said, "Hi, that's me, Brad," and nothing was drawn yet, so the white space was Brad. So I'm gonna delay. I'm gonna move the beginning of the voice narration just a little bit. I'll exit preview, and it looks like I have the drink coming in at 5.5 delayed. And 1 second, so that's 6.5. So this next character that the hand is going to draw has got to start at 6.5 because we got the delay of the last drawing at 5.5 and the duration at 1 second. So that's 6.5. So that's why they're at the same time. So let me change the first girl, to 6.5 delay. And what that's going to do is that's going to do a trickle effect to everything else. So now we're at 6.5 delay, the duration's 1 second, so that's 7.5. So the next character cannot start until 7.5. So I'll check that real quick. And sure enough, it's at 6.5. So 7.5, it's got a trickle down effect with all the other props and characters. This one's going to be 8.5. Okay, now let's go ahead and preview it and see what happens.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude. It all started...
Okay, so as you can see, it stopped because we have an explanation point. I'm going to fine tune this just a little bit, so I'll just drag this out until the explanation point disappears, and now I have enough room. But I'm also going to bring in my voice narration. I moved it a little too far to the left because it started a little too late. And again, that's all you do in VYOND, is you just kind of fine tune and make adjustments along the way. But let's preview it now.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude. It all started one beautiful Sunday.
Okay, that's a little bit better. So I'll exit the preview now. So the next scene is the house and the sun, because I'm drawing. People are using their imagination as I draw, and so that's the creative part about storytelling with whiteboard animation and using a whiteboard pen to draw out your story. So I'm pretty good with this scene right here. So this is going to be the first scene, as you can see here. But I'm going to go ahead and click the plus icon, and I'm going to continue the last scene. And what that does is it just keeps everything in place, but I can now start to make other things happen. So in this case, I want to expand the viewing area from this orange box. I want to expand it out a little bit bigger because now I'm going to draw a couple of houses. So what do I got to do? I got to do the camera movement. So I'll come up here, I'll hit the camera movement, I'll add camera movement, and now this yellow box is where it's going to end. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a lot bigger. Okay, click the camera icon to make that disappear. As you can see here, this blue line indicates how long that camera movement's going to be. I really don't want it to be that long, so I'm just going to shrink it down to about right there. Okay, and then let's see what happens. Again, preview it.
It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon as I was sitting in my backyard.
Okay, so you can see that the camera opened up a little bit, and now on this scene here, I can go ahead and include a prop, which is going to be house. So I'll search for house. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this house here. Okay, and I'm gonna change the size of this one right here. I'm going to hold down Shift, which will allow me to change it up just a little bit and make it a little bit more narrow. And on the other side of that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to mirror it so that the window's facing the other way. So we're in the backyard pretty much. Now as you can see, it's in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and right click on that and go to the order and move to all the way to the back, right? So there he is right there. Now I don't want this to come in at the very beginning. I want this to come in with at least a second delay. So again, the enter effect up here, it's going to be whiteboard animation, but I'm not doing the full 7.5 delay on this because I'm actually doing the delay for this particular scene or this video clip. I'm not doing the whole timeline of video clips. Okay, so I'll go ahead and delay this about a second. 1.0. 1 second. Okay, and then the duration I'm going to have, it's kind of a big house and they've got to color in a lot of stuff, so I'm going to put 3 seconds. Okay, so we got a delay at 1 second. We've got the enter effect takes 3 seconds in length of time, so we've got 4 seconds that we're dealing with there. And so that I'm going to go ahead and just copy this house and paste it. So now we've got 2 in there because this is my neighbor's house. I'm going to flip his house as well by right clicking and mirroring. Okay, so I'm going to make his house come in, but there's going to be a 4 second delay there and another, let's say 2.5 on this house. Okay, I'm going to change these up just a little bit, and his house is a little bit smaller. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to make these just a little bit smaller. Yeah, there's a house there, but it's not taking up the whole story. I'm going to make his house just a little bit smaller too because I've got other things I've got to draw. Okay. Okay. So now let's test it.
It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon as I was sitting in my backyard, enjoying the sun and some nice lemonade.
Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that, but they're being drawn at the same time. So if you take my house and let's see, we're at 4 seconds, 1 second delay, 3 second duration, so 4 seconds. But also we have to take into account the camera movement and how long that took. So that's kind of what I was troubleshooting there. So the duration there is about 1 second. So we got to add a second before we start drawing this second house. So this house total enter effect and delay is about 4 seconds. There's a transition from this scene to the next scene, which is about 1 second. So I'm going to start drawing this house. I'm going to have a delay of this one at 5.5 seconds and see what happens. That should be long enough, and let's see what it does.
It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon as I was sitting in my backyard, enjoying the sun and some nice lemonade. As as my daughter for playing around and having a good time.
Okay, so far so good. As you can see, there are different scenes right here. There are two different scenes, the first scene and the second scene. And within that scene, it's all about timing and characters and props and how they come into the scene and how long it takes for them to be drawn and the delay. So I think once you hammer down that skill of managing the timings, then I think the rest of the storyboard should go fine. And just for kicks, I'm going to come up here to click the arrow on the preview button, and I'm going to start from the top and see what it looks like.
Hi, that's me, Brad. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude. It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon as I was sitting in my backyard, enjoying the sun and some nice lemonade, as my daughters were playing around and having a good time.
Now I've gone through and I've started fine-tuning my story just a little bit, and I've come to a part where I'm transitioning from the voiceover to a lip sync of the character. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to do there. So in this case here, the camera, as you can see, is centered around the entire scene. But I want to call specific attention to what this character is saying. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue from the last scene, and we're just going to make it really short, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the camera movement from the entire scene to the character. Go ahead and shrink that down just a little bit. Put them right about here. Okay, and I don't want the this blue line indicates how long that camera movement is going to go from the entire scene to this smaller section here. I don't want it to be that long. I'm going to just make it really quick, and if it's just, the whole purpose of this particular video clip or scene is just for that camera movement. So I'll shrink it down just a little bit there, and as you can see, I've got my voice of what I want him to say here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue from the last scene, and I'm going to make this a little bit longer here to finish what he's saying. And so I'm going to change the character up a little bit. Now he was facing the family, but now I'm going to go ahead and change his expression to look at the camera, because he's speaking directly to the camera in this particular part of the story. Okay. Because he's got a very powerful message that he wants to share. So he's transitioning away from the voiceover or the storytelling, and he's specifically speaking to the individual watching this video. Okay, so now I've lined up what he's going to say, but I'm going to go ahead and right click on this, and I'm going to go to choose settings, and right now it's set up to be a voiceover, whatever this audio is. So I'm going to hit this drop down button here, and what character do I want speaking? So it's going to be this character here, and now let's see what happens. I'm going to start it back here and preview it and see what it looks like.
Remember, the one thing you can influence is yourself. You always have a choice to choose your attitude and focus.
So sometimes it's nice to just go ahead and build your own character, because you might have a certain style or a certain look that you want in your story, based on whoever's in the story. And I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So we've got this character that we've added here, but if you wanted to create your own character, you would come up here to the character button and hit this plus icon right here. It's going to prompt you to save your work, because you're actually leaving this part of VYOND and going into build your own character. And here you can choose whether you want it to be a male or a female, a child or an adult. And there he goes. So this is what we would start from as the template. And let's go ahead and start with his face. And you got these different facial styles here. I'm going to give him a little bit more chubbier of a face. The hairstyle, you can have really fun with the hairstyle. There's some really crazy hair out there. It really changes the look or the personality of the character, so it's kind of fun. You even got some hats that you can really create something with, but my go-to hairstyle is this one right here. Okay, then of course you can change their mouth, eyes, eyebrows, nose, even you can add some glasses if you wanted to. So you can do that here. And mouth, I'm pretty happy with the mouth. And then you can go to the tops, which is, you can, whatever you choose as far as the clothing goes, it kind of changes who that character is. It could be a football player, a doctor, or a captain. So here we have a doctor. Here we have an airline pilot. Here we have a rocker, and someone's going to the prom or the opera. Or you can just keep it casual and give them something like this. Just an office worker. Of course, you can change the pants. Have a little fun there. You can add some accessories. Anything from a mustache to maybe a headset for an office worker, or we can do masks. Everybody seems to be wearing a mask nowadays, but that could be for a doctor as well. So so you can go ahead and create your character, and then you would just save it. And you can go ahead and create another character or add it to your current video. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my current video. What's going to happen is it's going to take us back to the video we were creating, and now it's going to be in the My Library folder, and there they are right there. So by now I've shown you just about everything you need to get started. We've covered adding characters and props to the scene, building your own character, adding voice narration and adding transitioning scenes, timings and duration, camera movement, lip syncing, and then finally all you have to do is come up here and do your publishing your video. So if you want 720 or 1080p, you can go as far as experimenting with GIFs, but I usually pick 1080p. And there's so much more you can do, but that's the basics to get you started. Now, let's put it all together and see how this story turned out.
Hi, that's me, Jesse. I'd like to share with you a story about choosing your attitude. It all started one beautiful Sunday afternoon as I was sitting in my backyard, enjoying the sun and some nice lemonade, as my daughters were playing around and having a good time. In that moment, everything was wonderful and perfect. Nothing could bother me, or could it? The other character of this story is my neighbor to the east. Let's call him Biff. Keep in mind, his yard's elevation is 8 feet higher than mine. This is important because he can see everything in my backyard from his deck, and I can see everything on his deck from my backyard. Now there's something you should know about me and Biff. Biff is a very enthusiastic University of Utah fan. I too am a very enthusiastic Brigham Young fan. Yes, we are rivals. We both love our schools, but we don't like each other. It all started when his dead tree was breaking apart and damaging my property, but that's another story for another time. Let's get back on track. As I'm enjoying my strawberry lemonade, suddenly Biff comes out onto his deck and proceeds to hammer up a University of Utah flag from corner to corner. Keep in mind, the Utah Running Utes just earned a perfect season record of 13-0, and they won the Sugar Bowl that year. The U flag simply stated, University of Utah, perfect season, 13-0. It was well-deserved, and they earned the right to wave their banner. Another important note, the way Biff's house was positioned only allowed me and my family to view his flag. No one else could see it. No one from the street, and not even the neighbors could see it from their position. Or in other words, he was sticking it to us. As I sat there with my lemonade, I became more and more upset and angrier with this guy whose only purpose in life was to rub in the fact that the U was better than the Y, and of course, he had the flag to prove it. I was so mad as I sat there, I had to physically get up and walk away. I took a walk down the street to cool off, and the more I walked, the angrier I got. I started plotting my revenge. My first idea was to plant a giant pole right in front of his deck and hang a BYU flag so that when he walked outside, the first thing he would see is BYU and not that beautiful sunset. The revenge ideas kept flowing as my mind went into this spiral of dark, negative, vengeful thinking. Suddenly, it dawned on me. Out of nowhere, I realized I had the power to choose. I can choose to be upset with my neighbor, or I can choose not to be upset. It was simple. No one can make you mad. That power only lies within you. I had the power to choose, so I made the choice not to be mad. Now, as Paul Harvey would say,
now, the rest of the story.
I made a conscious decision not to let it bother me or ruin my perfect Sunday afternoon. I went back, sat down, and continued to enjoy spending time with my family. Remember, the one thing you can influence is yourself. You always have a choice to choose your attitude and focus on the things you can control or the things you can influence. Within that choice lies our happiness.